Okay, we developed standards, and these standards are Uganda standards, and standards are used by the business community in the manufacturing of products that are eventually put on the market. So the UNBS Act actually mandates us to enforce what we call the mandatory standards. So if you're dealing in a product that has a direct impact on the health and safety of the public, then you are supposed to have what we call the UNBS quality mark. That quality mark is quite popular. Many people, and I'm very sure many of you have seen it on our products in the market. So that is the assurance that a consumer out there will have to, before purchasing a particular product. You'll be assured that UNBS have assessed the production process, and it has actually confirmed that the product is safe for your consumption. So we do this through conformity assessment, and we have testing facilities. Actually, we have laboratories at our headquarters in Boyogere, and in these laboratories, we test to confirm if actually the products that are on the market, both locally made and those that are actually imported into the country. And I think that gets to the question that Duncan was putting across: how can we distinguish UNBS from URA? We usually work together with URA when we are assuring the quality of the imported products. So if you're at the customs area, you'll find a URA inspector as well as a UNBS inspector. The other important mandate of the Bureau is the issue of quantities, measurements. So we also have that mandate to ensure that we have the right quantities out there in the market. For example, if you're going, say, to a petrol station to take petrol, diesel, how are you sure that actually the petrol you're taking is the right quantity? If you're paying for 10 liters, UNBS is mandated to go and verify the dispensing pumps to ensure that when I go to buy fuel, I'll actually be given the right quantities. So we do that through our methodology, legal methodology activities, and all this is meant to have a fairness in trade, whereby the consumer is not cheated, but as well as the trader and the manufacturer on the other end is also not cheated. So in a nutshell, that's UNBS, both quality and quantity. Yeah, and when we say quantity, the measurements, and when we say quality, it's the safety of that product, of that service that you want to take up.
So you have officers on every border post in this country? Because literally every border post is an entry point for goods.
Ideally, not on all. Our numbers as of now cannot allow us to be on all the entry points, but at least we are present at the core, the main entry points where URA is.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm an ordinary customer. I want to know, how do you determine, if you walk into somebody's shop, how do you determine with your eyes that yes, because you do that all the time, that these are genuine products, and then these are substandard products?
Yeah.
What do you use to determine that?
Okay. Actually, you bring out a very interesting question, because if I'm an ordinary Ugandan and I'm going into a supermarket or a shop, am I able to determine the standard by just looking at it? Of course, what we do at UNBS is different. For us, we shall do a lot of work in the background where the Ugandan is not present, but as we speak now, many of our colleagues, the scientists and the analysts, are busy trying to assess all the products that are put on our market. So we do that through a scientific process, but we know for sure that not everyone will be able to understand the science there. So that's why we came up with the quality mark. So for you, if you're going into a premise, a shop, to buy something that is boo-boo, that is actually manufactured here in Uganda, you have to look out for the quality mark. It's a Q mark, and it's very vivid. We require the manufacturers to put it on the labels. So you'll find that quality mark. And it is one sure way you can have to know that, oh, this product has actually been certified by UNBS, so I can take it. And then we also talked about the issue of imports. We have products that are actually not manufactured from here. So what we require of all importers to do is to undertake the PIVOC program. And under this program, the verification and the assessment to the conformity to the relevant Uganda standards is undertaken in the country of origin. For example, if you're buying things from Turkey, you'll be required to first test them, you assess them against the Uganda standard, because you're bringing it for the Ugandans. So it should be the same. For example, if you're importing maybe water, you should have the same standard with the water we have here. So under that PIVOC program, we have contracted service providers in most of the countries where our people trade, where they do a lot of importation. So what you do, your products will be subjected to a test, and by the contracted service provider by UNBS, and they will issue a certificate of conformity. So when you get to the entry points, when you get to Busia, to Malaba or Elegu, you will be required to issue to show us that certificate. And we have systems of verifying online. So we subject it to a verification exercise. If it's a genuine certificate, then we know that actually you went through our contracted service provider and you actually bring in a product that is safe for Ugandans. And if you, for one reason or another, you've actually not gone through PIVOC, we subject you to what we call destination inspection. Here, the inspector, the UNBS inspector at the entry point will sample your consignment, and then we'll bring the products at the UNBS laboratories in Boyogere for testing. So it's a little bit inconveniencing. That's why we really encourage as many importers to go through PIVOC, because it will incur a lot of damage, and it will take us around 1 to 2 weeks to actually verify those products. Because what we are looking at as UNBS is to maximize the domestic production. So we are doing a lot of analysis and assessment of our own local products within the country. So and that's why we are trying to make sure whatever is brought in here must meet the requirements of Uganda from the point of origin, so that we have enough time and enough space to assess and improve our own products that are being manufactured by our own people under the Buy Uganda and Build Uganda program.
Yeah, thank you, Sylvia. And if you're following us on Spaces or YouTube, you'll have an opportunity to ask a question in the next very few minutes. Just a footnote there. I don't think this is a very serious question. But
Yes.
most of us buy bread.
Yes.
Personally, I have developed the habit of throwing away the bread once it hits expiry date. Usually, you know, when you pick it from the supermarket shelf, it has a half-life of just like 3, 4, 5 days. Once it croaks, I throw away. But most people consume the bread until it is finished, even when it's 5 days past the recommended date.
Yes.
Is that dangerous?
Of course, it is dangerous. Bread is one of those very perishable products that we assess as UNBS, and as you've actually put it, usually the expiry date is indicated on the packaging material. So it will give you between 2 to 4 days at max. So if you are buying it today, we actually encourage all consumers to look out for that information, because we require the manufacturers to put that information on the product labels to guide the consumer. So before you buy, please take off a few seconds and scan through the label and see. And because we have seen people who actually, because at UNBS we have contact lines for complaints, where we receive complaints from the public. And someone will call you and say, you know what, I bought expired bread and I want to be compensated. So that's why we say no. If you're into an outlet, first look at the expiry date of the product. If for one reason or another, the retailer or the business person has actually left a product that has expired on the shelf, be the first inspector, be the first one to really verify and say, you know what, this bread is expired, but it's still here. And through our toll-free number, the 0800-133-133, you can ring UNBS, and then we shall be able to come and look out for that outlet and seize such products. Because we know for sure we have smart consumers, but we also have sometimes lazy consumers. Even the obvious labels on the product, they don't bother to read. But for the smart consumers, and that's what I want to encourage our people today, to really mind about what they are buying. You're paying money for this particular product. Please take off a few seconds and read through the labels and see. Sometimes they actually include the list of ingredients. You may actually buy a product and get you allergic to it, but that information has been put there for you. So please try.
Or you're pregnant
and yes, because we make sure that manufacturers actually indicate as much information on the product to guide the consumer, because it's a requirement of the standard, and it's actually being done by most of our manufacturers. But the other responsibility is for the consumer to take interest and actually look at these labels before you pay for a product. Yes, so it's a good question, and I know many people are buying bread now.
Yes,
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
People take note.
Yeah.
Sylvia, let's talk about certification.
Yes.
I know that's your core mandate. If I'm going to open a factory in Namambe Industrial Park producing these pencils, I must come to you with the specifications of the pencil that I'm going to make so that you approve. I don't know what you approve or whatever. Certification. What kind of certification do you issue? Does it expire? What are the steps before you certify me and I'm able to produce my product? Take us through that certification process.
Yes, certification services is one of those very key services that UNBS offers, actually, for us to be able to confirm that you're following the requirements of the standards. Then we have to audit or to assess your production area. And we have mainly two categories of certification. The most popular one is the product certification, whereby you're talking about a pen, you're talking about a pencil, you're speaking about water or any product. So what you do is the first step, and this we usually encourage our stakeholders, first come and get a copy of a standard. Because if, for example, you're dealing in peanut butter, or you're packing, what can I say, milk, or yogurt, or water, there's a standard, there's a Ugandan standard for water. So what we usually encourage people to do is first get this copy of the standard and go through it and see, is what the idea that I have on track, is it in line with what the experts actually put down for me to follow? It's basically a guideline that you will follow. It will tell you what to do, what not to do. So in the for the starter, really, you need to get a copy of the standard. And after you've got a copy of the standard, and you're sure that you into production, you have all the expertise. Sometimes you need the knowledge on how to do that particular product. We usually require you to be formally registered, because as a government institution, we don't want to deal with a person who we cannot trace. So we require you to do registration with the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. And then we also require you to come and clear with the taxman, because we need to know that you actually you're compliant with the taxation. So if you have a registered company, so we know the owner is Duncan and maybe whatever name you may come up with, then you'll also have to get a name of your product. So you have a farm or you have a company, but you also need to think about that brand name. How do you want your water to be called? How do you want your kombucha to be known on the market? What is that name? So you come up with that name as well. And the other thing that you need to do is what we call a production process, flow process. Can you summarize for us that this is how I do my production? Maybe I will give an example of maize, because it's the most recent product that we've been dealing with. How do you get the raw material? How do you store it? How do you do into production? So you're basically giving us a snapshot of what you do, the production process. And after you have done that, UNBS has opened up, so you're required to have actually an email address. Yeah, so you can apply. You know, COVID-19, the new normal, we try to limit a lot of physical interaction unless it's really necessary. But we are also very sure that sometimes you don't need to come all the way from Koboko to Boyogere just to apply for certification. So you can go online on the UNBS website and you'll be able to, there's a link, then you will apply for product certification. So when you apply, we shall be able to assess you, and then because we actually know the person we are dealing with, we communicate. We do a lot of back and forth, making inquiries on what may not have come out clearly, and after that, we give you a schedule, and we say we shall come to you maybe on 15th of December. So we visit your premises physically. We visit the premises physically to assess and see that actually what you've put on paper is what is on the ground. And after that assessment, we pick samples of what you're doing that we take into our accredited laboratories for verification, for us to be sure that actually they are okay. And then thereafter, we shall issue permission, or we grant you that permission to fix that quality mark on your product. But what's very important for people to know is that it's not forever. It usually runs for 1 year, and the reason is simple. When we see that you've actually complied with the requirements of the standards today, we also want to be sure that you'll do the same next year, same time. So we give you a year, and then we assess again. Because you've seen people that actually get the quality mark, and then they go back and just relax and leave everything to whoever really gets bothered. But we are very keen on this because, I mean, these are products that you're putting out there. People are spending money on these products, but as well as consuming them. So if we relax on the assessment, on the quality requirements, that would mean that we will be putting the lives of the Ugandans at risk. So the certification runs for a year, and there are assessments that are done in between those periods, just for us to be sure that actually you are doing the right thing and you're not duping anyone. Yes.
Our followers, viewers, listeners, you've heard, you don't have to walk from Arua, Kisolo to come and pursue certification for your product at UNBS offices in Namugongo. Yes. You can do that on their website. Then you will also be able to ask your question in the next very few minutes. So Sylvia, now we are going into Christmas. Yeah. And when you go into our villages this Christmas, all manners of waraji. These days I see on social media, yes, warajis are being named after big footballers in Europe. Ronaldo, what? Are these things certified? Are they safe for consumption?
Yes, I think, Duncan, we spoke about that earlier. The issue of naming. Every Uganda is supposed to be innovative. You can come up with as many brand names as you want. You can call it Udumparaka or whatever, whatever name that you really like. But what we look at as UNBS is, are you doing the right thing? Yes, so we are more interested in seeing that you're actually doing the right thing. You can put your waraji on the market or your kombucha, but are you doing the right thing? Are you following the requirements of the standards? Very key is hygiene. Just yesterday, I think, we had our teams, our market surveillance team moving around and looking at how the festivities of Christmas and end of year, of course, are in high gear everywhere, and people are into mass production so that on the D-Day they can really do a lot of sales. But you find that many times our people ignore the issue of hygiene. And as UNBS, we really, really take key interest in this, because at the end of the day, if a product, especially food and something to drink, is manufactured in a terrible situation, it will definitely compromise the quality of that product, and it will affect the safety and health of the consumer. So all these warages that you see on the market, the ones that have the UNBS quality mark, you can really go ahead and enjoy if you're above 18, because of course we don't use standards in isolation. We follow the laws of the country, so we don't encourage actually minors to take alcohol. So the instructions are clear. The labeling is there. It will show you what you're supposed to be doing. But also the other thing is, I want to encourage the consumers, because in the festivities, it is you paying for this product. We have what we call the UNBS app. It's downloadable. You can download it, the UNBS app, and using that app, you can actually interrogate the status of the product instantly. For example, if you're in a market and you want a waraja and you find that very good name or brand or Ronaldo, you can search by brand, Ronaldo waraja or something. I'm just using it as an example. Just type it in the UNBS app. It will show you that, oh yes, this is a valid product. It was certified by UNBS. It will expire by this date. So it helps to give you that information so that you go and enjoy with the safe products that are actually certified. So yeah, we have certified our warajas, yes, and many other things that our people use in the festivities, like the soft drinks, the beverages, the snacks, the bread. We have looked at all those products. Yes.
Yeah, so you've heard UNBS has an app.
Yeah.
And this can also go to the traders. Please, before you stock these goods, go to the app, download it from Google Play Store. The iPhone people know what to do. I don't remember where they download their things from. Download the app and check, are the products you're stocking of the standard quality, or they are just going to cause you problems? Because if they are confiscated, you lose.
Yeah. Actually, he loses more, because the UNBS Act puts the responsibility for the person manufacturing, the person distributing, and actually the one dealing. So you may just say, I'm just a dealer, but what are you dealing in? Because at the end of the day, you are presenting this product to the Ugandan, and we hold you responsible. The same way we would hold the manufacturer or the wholesale person. So we actually encourage our people, stock those products that are certified for the safety of your business, but also for the safety of your consumers and your customers.
So, briefly.
Yes.
Kavela talk is back. I have seen your executive director, Mr. Bill, with the executive director of NEMA, Mr. Balelega, addressing the press about Kavela recently, not once, but I think more than once. The talk is back, but are we going to see action? Are you guys phasing out Kavela?
Actually, the talk, yes, is back, but I also want to assure Ugandans that the action is also back. You know, the National Environment Management Act gives UNBS, empowers UNBS to enforce that section of the NEMA Act of removing Kavera or those, whatever you call the plastic bags that are below 30 microns, 30 microns and below. So that is the mandate that we came out to reawaken the public. You know, the president and government has always advised us, help our people, empower them with information so that you don't take them on unknowingly. So that's what we did. We are trying to create as much awareness amongst the manufacturers, the distributors, and the dealers in the plastic bags, the Kavera. that the law of the land actually prohibits you from manufacturing or actually distributing caveras that are 30 microns and below. And we have been empowered by government to do that work. And what we have agreed is NEMA and UNBS jointly to take on this enforcement. So we are actually going to the manufacturers, we are going to go to the outlets, and we don't want to reach that level because we don't want to find you when you've actually invested in the wrong thing. That's why we came out to resurrect. That's what people are saying, that we are resurrecting the talk. The talk has been there and somehow it had been shelved. But now it's on track, and we are saying you do the right thing before we really come for you. Because sincerely, we are going to come.
You have heard NEMA and UNBS are coming for the Kavela.
Yes.
So Sylvia, lastly, Christmas is here.
Yep.
Shopping, people are up and down shopping. The traders are shopping in Chikubo, taking goods up country, and we are going to pick them for Christmas, etc. So, what tips do you have for us, the shoppers, in this festive season?
Yeah, actually, the message we have, and as UNBS, this has always been our message, is that you need to be a smart consumer. Because it's your money, it's you. One, we know the festive season usually comes with a lot of eating and merrymaking, so people are buying a lot of foodstuffs. So foodstuffs expire, first of all, so look out for the expiry dates on these foodstuffs, whether it is rice, whether it is sugar, whether it is, name it, whatever that you're stocking for your family, look out for the expiry dates. Take food that will take you through the festive season and will take you and your family safely. So apart from the expiry dates, and we emphasize this, people have been in lockdown. So someone stocked and sales have not been really good, and this is the time. Sometimes our people are rushing. You're going down to the taxi park or the bus park, and you're piling everything. Take how much, take how much, you know how we do our shopping downtown there. So we are saying no, don't do the shopping through a rush process. Because when you rush, you will not take off time to interrogate and see what you're buying. And then we are saying these hawkers are everywhere. But if UNBS is not there, you are the first inspector. You are the first person to ensure that what you're buying is right. So we are encouraging people to buy from established outlets. By an established outlet, I would say if it's Duncan's shop there, please be sure. Buy everything from there, and where necessary, get a receipt. Because I told you we have a toll-free number, the 0800-133-133, and this is supposed to help our consumers. If you really get to know someone who's doing the wrong thing during this festive season, as UNBS, we treasure feedback from the public. Alert us, we shall be there. Because if you alert us and we know for sure that we can locate Duncan, his shop is somewhere there. But if you usually interrogate people, say, okay, where did you buy this from? I'm like, simanyi, zenalinta ambula yaliao. So it becomes really hard for us to trace these people.
Please get in touch with the GCIC using our platforms, social media platforms, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. You can write to us on email at citizen@gcic.go.ug, or send us a WhatsApp on 0414-670-288. So thank you so much. The conversation continues on Twitter Spaces.